everyone, welcome to What's on My Bookshelf. Today's episode I was thinking of doing a September wrap-up. I have to say I have not read that many books. I have read only 4 and the first one is To Kill a Kingdom. So let's go on to my thoughts about it, shall we? Here it is. I don't remember why I bought this book first of all, and I think it was because I saw this a lot going on in the Bookstagram, and the cover is definitely pretty, and I think it is a retelling of The Little Mermaid as well. So of course you get intrigued by that. Retellings are always a popular trope, so I really wanted to read it. But once I bought the book, I remember I bought it 2 years ago, but I couldn't get into it and I didn't bother to read it. But this month I was already going through a book slump, so I decided to give it a go. And the first initial, even though the first page is definitely something that pulls you in, I will not deny that. Let me just check. I have a heart for every year I have been alive. That is the starting, just like it's given in the blurb. And you definitely wonder, why do you want hearts? Princess Lyra, she is a siren. She is the daughter of the siren queen. There is a difference between sirens and mermaids. So I couldn't quite put my finger on it, what exactly it is, the difference. I did not understand who's more brutal, because at times it feels like the sirens are more brutal, at times it feels like the mermaids are more brutal. So I couldn't quite differentiate what exactly is the difference between them. But yes, sirens are obviously more higher in the hierarchy. The queen, Lyra's mother, is supposed to be a really brutal villain. In their world, taking a hearts gives them power, and the more hearts you have, the more powerful you are. But there is a limit to that also. I do not understand what exactly that is supposed to be. Prince Elian, how do you pronounce it? It's so ambiguous. And he is supposed to be the son of the most powerful kingdom in the world. But yes, there was character to him, but there was no depth. In fact, both of them had no depth, I feel. They both had a lot of things that were similar. They both were under a huge weight because they were the heirs to the kingdom, and yet they felt like they didn't have any freedom to do what they wanted to do, except you are the heirs, for God's sake. What more freedom do you want? So we don't understand what their dilemma is, and of course if they did not have a problem, we would not have a story. So I get that, but of course you understand that this is a retelling. So you know what happens in The Little Mermaid. The mermaid is, though here it is a siren, the siren is banished and asked to fall in love with a man, and she's required to do something, in this case kill the prince and bring his heart. And she's called the Princess Bane because she steals the hearts of princes only. She only takes princes' hearts, and you're supposed to take only one heart on your birthday. If you take more than one heart, you're doing something wrong. I don't know what and why. And that's how it goes in the book. And for some reason her mother, the queen, is very brutal with her. It's supposed to be like that or something. Yet many of her kind, including her aunt, who she had to kill because of some squabble with her mother, they seem to be more relaxed. In fact, her dying words were, be the queen we want you to be, we need you to be. So that was kind of interesting. And Alien, he is part-time siren hunter. He's actually the heir, but he likes to be like a pirate who is a siren hunter on the side, and it's supposed to be some kind of a wild ride for him. And though it isn't, he feels more at home in his ship than he does in his kingdom. And once they both meet, I have to say there is no spark between them. There is nothing that suggests that they are meant to be lovers. And if this is an enemies to lovers trope, I did not feel that tension between them. It felt very, I don't know the word to say it, but the camaraderie between them was very normal. It didn't feel like they were enemies that were going to become lovers later on. In fact, Alien doesn't do anything to woo her. There is some kind of a banter going on between them, but that is more like someone getting to know a stranger, someone in authority getting to know a stranger. It didn't feel like someone who was attracted to somebody. It didn't feel like that kind of a banter, to me at least. And I was not very impressed with the way their relationship was moving forward, because it didn't feel like they were in a relationship either. I mean, like for example, in Spin the Dawn, the banter between Maya and Eden is so refreshing and full on that, in fact, the first half of the book is carried on because of this banter between them, and you know clearly that there is something going on between them, even though Maya is supposed to be a man in disguise, but still there is some spark, some tension going on between them. Whereas between Prince Alien and Princess Lyra, even though they are in disguise and such, in fact, I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but when Lyra is found by Prince Alien, she immediately recognizes him as this prince, even though he's supposed to be a pirate in that ship, the captain of that ship. I never understood how they never thought of questioning her, how she knew him to be the prince. I don't know if it's a spoiler or if I missed it, or if I'm just dense. I don't know. But that's something I was like, then I thought maybe it's because he's seen and recognized everywhere, so maybe even she recognized him. Maybe it was because of that. Anyways, I'm not trying to give a review of this book, but To Kill a Kingdom, overall I felt like it was very lacking. It had the potential to be really good, to be like an epic, but it was toned down so much in terms of scale, in terms of the character development. As I said, there was no depth in their characters. It felt very stereotypical, caricaturish almost. This is the prince and this is the princess. These are the problems they have. This is the kind of way they talk. This is the kind of things that is going on forward between them. So overall, it felt like the writer was, ticking some boxes. Okay, I have written this, I have written this, I have met this, I have met this criteria. So that's what it felt like mostly to me. So I was like, why should I care? Like, who am I rooting for? And one of the things that really amazed me was in the beginning when Prince Alien, he barters his whole kingdom to make someone his queen in return for information. I was really surprised. I kind of showed his character as someone who is naive and not fit for ruling probably, but it also felt like a lazy way of incorporating something. Like, it was not fully thought through. I was not exactly impressed with that, but anyway, it worked out towards the end, and the ending also felt very rushed, and I'm just disappointed that this book it had so much potential, but it could not live up to it. But it's got good writing, and it's got a good heart for sure. The writer definitely wanted to give her best, and I'm sure her next book will be pretty good, hopefully. But yeah, the first book of September, To Kill a Kingdom, it wasn't pretty for me. I enjoyed reading it for sure, but overall I would not say that it's one of my favorite reads of September. Definitely leave a comment below if you have read this book and your thoughts on it. The next book that I read this month was The Couple Upstairs by Shalini Roland. It was an arc that I was given by Booktuber through NetGalley. Of course, I also participated in the blog tour for it, so that was a bonus for me. Shalini Roland is one of my favorite authors, my favorite psychological thriller author. I've read her other books, The Girl in the Sea, and of course my favorite, The Family, The Perfect Family. So I was really excited to read this one also. But I have to say, this book did not live up to its expectations. At least not with the kind of expectation that I have with this author. But let me get to the blurb first. The story is about Zach and Nina, and they have just recently moved to a new town. It's an attached apartment, and they have the downstairs apartment, and there is a different family living upstairs. So Zach is a plumber, basically. He's a plumber. He's freelance, and Nina has just recently started a business. Zach is also someone who likes to be a traveler more than anything else. He doesn't like to be rooted somewhere. He would rather travel, but Nina felt like it's time that they settle down somewhere and put their roots somewhere. The problem that I had with this book was I was sold with something else when I read the blurb. The blurb made me feel like the plot heavily revolves around this room where light goes and everybody's stuck in a room, and one by one somebody is getting killed. That is the impression I received when I first read the blurb, and that is what made me excited to read it. Of course, I must have misread it or something, but the plot itself starts somewhere else, and I feel like there was tension for the sake of tension. I did not feel like the characters were going through a problem, but they were made to go through a problem just for the sake of it, just for the sake of plot. Of course, I know that is what writing is, but there should be a believability to it. That's what I feel. And especially the character Nina, she was struggling to keep her business afloat, but there was no real connection with the audience as a reader. And she keeps on saying that she hears noise upstairs. She's worried about the husband upstairs abusing the wife upstairs. And then her relationship with Zach, I think they have been together for 5 years, and yet at the smallest slightest thing they would fight, and he was even ready to believe she had an affair. What kind of a relationship is that? Which made me angry, because in the end, after everything is over, I hope this is not a spoiler, but after all the reveal, all the climax is over, they're still together. If it was me, or if it was any self-dignified person, they would probably not be with someone who do not trust them. You know what I mean? So that was kind of a turn off for me, for sure. And as I said, the characterization, the whole plot felt like something was going to happen, but nothing is happening, and that was kind of like a turn off again for me. So the couple upstairs from my side was definitely not a entertaining one, at least compared to what I have enjoyed from her previously. But it's definitely a good read, because it has some thrills, it has some chills, it has some psychological drama going on, and the reveal itself was the problem. It was very mellow. That was my biggest problem. Nevertheless, if this is your first book by Shalini Boland, I think you would probably enjoy it. I guess I'm just used to her better writing in The Perfect Family, so set the bar pretty high, I guess, with her. Nevertheless, I think you should enjoy it. So yeah, that is the second book that I read this month, The Couple Upstairs by Shalini Boland. So the next book that I read for this month, and I'm saying it in order actually, was 56 Days. I started it last month, I think in August, but I couldn't, it was not holding my interest as much as I wanted it to. But then I was also in a partial book slump. I believe it had all the right buzz going for it, and I was excited to start reading it. 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard was something I was really looking forward to. You have no idea. Every time in Instagram people would rave about it, I was like, I'm missing out on this, I'm missing out on this. I really wanted my hands on this book, and I remember so many people raving about it. This book blew my mind away. This was so different. This was so... I knew back in my mind that this is probably just a marketing tactic that people use to create hype around a book. I have read so many books because of that turned out to be really disappointing, to say the least. Nevertheless, some part of me wanted to believe that this really is good as the hype is. I have to say it meets only 25% of its hype, which is saying a lot, because some books don't even reach that. Let me start from the beginning. Plot in 56 Days is about Chiara, I hope that is the right pronunciation, and Oliver. They have recently moved to Dublin for work purposes, but both are hiding something, and they accidentally meet in a supermarket. Little things lead to them getting to know each other and deciding to date. But as we read on, it's set in 2 points of view, both Chiara's and Oliver's, as well as what happened 56 days before, counting down to today, and what happens in the lead to the climax, of course. So Chiara has something to hide. In the beginning I just felt like she was insecure, but as I continued reading it, I realized that the author is hiding what she's really thinking. Of course, that's nice as well, but we get to know that Oliver is also hiding something, that they both have come to Dublin because they are hiding from their past. They meet right around the time COVID-19 hits the world, and it has not reached the shores of Ireland yet, but you see this news going around, and it's just a matter of time before it hits Ireland as well. So as they start dating each other, within 2 weeks or something of dating each other, a lockdown is announced in Ireland. So both have some hidden agendas, they both have something to confront, decide to live in with each other, because anyways it's just a temporary situation. It's not like they have really moved in together as a live-in couple, but it just makes sense because they just started dating each other. They can't really spend time with each other because of the lockdown anymore, and they don't know anybody there, which is also a convenient plot. And as I said, they both have something to confront within themselves as well as with each other, which is why they decide to move in together, even though they of course do not confide that to each other. It's just something that's going on in the back of their head. When we start the book, we started with one of them turning up dead. Of course, it's only as we go progress in the book we realize who has died, and we see everything unfold through the eyes of the investigating officer. I forget the name, but yeah, that is how the story unfolds in the present by one of the officers investigating what must have happened and how they must have died. And honestly, I found the book to be very interesting, no doubt about it. I loved how both were keeping secrets from each other. One was trying to have a new start, and another one was trying to find answers. And I loved how their world collided. It makes for the perfect read that you can discuss with somebody. That's something I loved about the book. It definitely has suspense and intrigue and thrills, and also it's definitely a quintessential book about what happened. It's not a whodunit book, but you definitely want to know what happened. And the more you read, the more you are guessing it in your head. Okay, this must have happened, that must have happened, and it's kind of exciting to get to the reveal for sure. So in that sense, it's definitely an exciting book to read. But once you reach the reveal, it's not as bad as The Couple Upstairs for sure, which had a very mellow climax. But this one, despite the reveal being pretty, I wouldn't say shocking, but it wasn't vanilla anyways. But despite the reveal, you don't feel like you have attained closure, because, and perhaps the author wasn't looking for one, maybe because it's so rooted in reality. I know many people will not want to read a book that has been set in around the time of COVID-19, but I don't think the book is about it. It's just a setting, so it makes it kind of realistic also, but not that realistic either. So definitely it was a better read for me compared to The Couple Upstairs. And the final book that I read for this month, which I was highly anticipating to read, is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. Can you see it? This book I was really looking forward to reading, because when I first saw the cover of the book, I was really like, this is such a cozy read. That is what the first impression of me was. The Swiss Alps and this huge luxury hotel right in front of it. It looked so majestic and cozy at the same time, and I was really looking forward to reading it. And I must say, it has not completely disappointed me, which is a relief, because reading the blurb and reading the book, two different things altogether. Did I like the book? Yes. Let me just rewind what the book is about. The book follows the protagonist Ellen. She's a sergeant in UK, a detective sergeant in UK, and she has just recently gone through some personal and professional trauma. She's in a relationship with her boyfriend Will, who's an architect. They have been invited by her brother to celebrate his engagement to her childhood friend. I wouldn't say best friend, but something of that sort. Once they reach there, mysterious things start to happen, especially two dead bodies are discovered. Her brother's fiancée also disappeared. They don't know if she is a victim or if it is just cold feet because of the engagement. They don't know if it is because of that. And the best part is that, as expected, there is an avalanche, and they are locked inside this hotel. So it also makes for a good locked room mystery, which I really love. And yeah, the story really picks up from there. I have to say, it's so atmospheric. I loved it. I felt like I was in this cold mountainous area, and it was so, I wish I could go there. It was that good. I just love such atmospheric reads, especially when it is when the setting is crime thriller or this mystery suspense kind of books. I really love it. Because of that, I felt the book is also like it was elevated a notch because of that. Otherwise, it could have been just another murder mystery, right? In fact, the setting itself becomes another character in the book. Another thing that I really loved about the book was Ellen is not this perfect cop. Even though I was a little bit annoyed with her for her taking so long to recover from her professional trauma, which we are never really told about what happened. We are in snippets. It's said that she's still not over her last case. We really don't know what exactly happened, but she has not gotten over it. So that is kind of there is no closure on that, but nevertheless it's good that it's not explained as much, because it doesn't play a part in the plot, though it plays a part in the way she's characterized for sure. I did feel like she was taking a little too long. For someone who's a police officer, she should be, I just felt like she should have been able to, I wouldn't say get over it, but should have been able to put herself together, because it was, by the time this plot has started, it's been 1 year since her last problematic case. So I kind of felt like that was too stretched out. I loved Will. He was the best supportive boyfriend. Character Isaac, her brother, he also played a good part. It was not fleshed enough, but it didn't feel like it was caricaturish or stereotypical. It didn't feel like that. There was enough mystery in all of them that we wanted to read more and more and more. It was just like a sneak peek, slowly revealing the person behind. But what you see is what you get ultimately. In the end, the reveal I felt was not as shocking as I expected it to be. I expected something gruesome, grotesque. But yes, I wouldn't say that the reveal was not that, but it was in a very different light, something I did not expect really. And I understand it's getting only 3.43 rating on Goodreads, which is very low in my opinion. I don't think the book deserves to be this low. I understand that the reveal may have been a little disappointing to some people, but why not? It's fiction. It's a desire to do something right, what we wouldn't have done in real life. So the author taking that leap of faith that the killer would do something like this, I don't think it's that much of a disappointment. The reasoning behind the killer, it's kind of believable, if not expected, right? These are my 4 reads for September: To Kill a Kingdom, Couple Upstairs, 56 Days, and The Sanatorium. Book that I like the most in these 4 are, I would have to start with The Sanatorium, To Kill a Kingdom, 56 Days, and The Couple Upstairs. I would rank it in that order if I had to. I'll be updating the stars on my Bookstagram account, and you can check out my Goodreads account as well. I would love to know what your thoughts are on these books if you have read them. And yeah, I'm planning to do a reading challenge probably, though I have no idea how I'll do it, but I'm looking forward to doing that. So see you all in my next video. Bye.